Hey everybody, decided to go live today, lunch break. I wanted to address something that James asked about yesterday. He wanted me to talk about dealing with a crowd or a swarm of people, in and out of a vehicle. And so I thought, okay, great, I'll answer that topic. And I want you, if you're listening, to also, if I don't get to you today, leave questions in the comments, because I'm going to do this go live every day in August challenge. And you can go to the Facebook page, go live every day in August, and you can check out Lou's Facebook page and the challenge there. But I'm doing that, seemed like something fun to do. So I'm going to be providing tips every day of the month. So just like James yesterday put that topic in the comments, now I'm talking about it today. Go ahead and do that, and I'll get to those a subsequent day of the month. I also wanted to discuss, and I'm going to share a couple things here as we do this, and I'll probably sharing it, I guess, after I'm done. But I actually talked about this topic in two different issues of my Sunday safety and self-defense tips. So I pulled those up here on the computer in front of me, and I'm going to be looking at those a little bit to remind myself of what I wrote about this topic. If you're not on this list, go to surviveanddefend.com, sign up. It's free. I send them out every Sunday. Great information. You'll get some free ebooks. You'll get some other lessons. And once in a while, I send out an email about my DVDs or my books or about the membership site. I think that's fair. If I'm putting hundreds of things out on YouTube, I'm giving a newsletter for free, every week. I think it's fair once in a while to tell people that, hey, I do have some books, I do have some videos, I do make a living doing this. The membership site has over 400 pages now, and I'm constantly adding to it information for safety and self-defense at Survive and Defend. I mean, you can't buy a large Frappuccino and sandwich at Starbucks for that 400 and always adding safety information pages on that website every month. So a great deal if your safety, security, self-defense are important, and I'm telling you they should be. We got some people joining. I want to say hi to all those people. It's really great to have you here. Please share this around, comment. I'll get to those comments. But, let's talk about crowds and safety. That's the topic James wanted me to talk about today. And I'll tell you first and foremost, one of the easiest ways to stay safe when you're talking about crowds, don't be in one. And, that might be flippant, but it's not. Especially crowds that tend to get violent. If you're at a protest or different things are going on where, crowds tend to maybe get violent, or that's with a body of individuals and that group is known to get violent, avoid those events, avoid those crowds, and that's the number one way to stay safe. That's good for if you're going out and about. It's good for driving. Pay attention to areas that might have activity and violence and different crowds. Don't go there. Take an alternate route. So our first and foremost way is stay out of those areas, okay, and avoid those crowds, especially ones that are getting dangerous. I know that's not always possible. And sometimes we're in a crowd that was peaceful, and because of something that happened, it becomes dangerous. And that could be like the concert in Europe, over there in the UK recently where they had the explosion, panic starts. It could be a fire, it could be an active shooter, any kind of terrorist event. We had the explosion, the bombs at the marathon a couple years ago. I mean, all of these kind of things can make a crowd that was peaceful turn dangerous. And some people will actually get violent in their trying to escape themselves to safety because they just panic and they don't care about anybody else. And that can be very dangerous. Trying to look at a couple of these. If you could touch on it, could you give us tips on flash mob scenarios? We dealt with a rash of them here in Chicago a while back. I'll try. Hopefully some of this information will help with that, Vargas. So it's true. And some crowds, they happen instantaneously. One of the things, if you're caught in those, one of the first things I have to tell you is you have to stay on your feet. Do everything possible to keep your balance and stay on your feet. One of the worst things is if you're on the ground, and that's where people get trampled. And when people get trampled, they get injured, they get killed. So we got to stay on our feet if at all possible. And if we go down, we want to get up as quick as possible. If somebody we're with goes down, we help them get up, because that's where you're going to get trampled. We also have to be careful that we get smashed against things and suffocated and smashed. So one thing that I recommend in such a crowd like that is get out of it. Don't swim upstream. That's going to be almost impossible. But don't just go with the crowd either. If you can go with the crowd and angle toward the edge to get out of it, that's going to be probably your best bet of getting out of that crowd, is taking that angle to get to the sides. Okay? Little things that can help you, different places that you might be. They might have pillars or different things. You got a crowd going. If you can get behind a pillar so the crowd's going past you and you got that little space of refuge where you're not getting knocked into or knocked down. That's especially if you're not mobile to get out of the crowd. Having that little place of refuge with something that's providing a barricade to keep people away from you. So you get on that side where the people are going this way. If here's the pillar, everybody's crashing this way. If you get here, that's the place of safety, and it's giving you some protection. What are some other things? What if you are grabbed? The crowd is after you and you're grabbed. Maybe it's a violent crowd and you're on the other side, whatever that might be. It could be political, it could be gang related, it could be, you're just, racial, whatever, but you're on the other side of an angry crowd and they're going after you specifically, not just trying to escape. That is when you have to escape, because I don't care who you are, none of us are going to Bruce Lee a mob and beat up everybody. Our goal is to get out. And what that's going to take is, if somebody grabs you, you need to know how to escape from grabs. You might have to fight your way out, but it's not beating people. It's hitting and kicking and escaping to get yourself to safety. Remember the Warriors movie? A friend of mine here, I don't think she's watching today, but she posted about how many times was too much to watch it. Her husband Dave must really like the movie. Great movie. But, it's one of my favorites. I love when they're escaping and they create a place to escape. They're hitting people, but then they're running. They're not staying and fighting and going down and grappling and trying to submit people. Their sole purpose is to hurt people to create the opportunity to escape. They run down an alley that's blocked by a fence. What do? They punch their way through and kick their way through the fence to escape. That's the kind of mentality we have to have, is get out of there. Because you are not going to win fighting a large group. Your single and most important thing to do is escape somewhere safe. And if you have to get physical to do that, so be it. But we got to get out there and do that. Other things we got to talk about. James talked about a little bit about being... Hey, thanks, Ann. I'm glad you liked that one. I'm just checking some of the comments go by pretty fast. Sorry if I don't acknowledge you. I'll respond later for sure to every comment. I always go back and respond to stuff. And like James's suggestion, I'm talking about it today. But James asked about cars as well. And stay in your car. The car is going to provide you protection. So we stay in our car for a mob, and preferably we keep that car moving. Now, and I'm not advocating running over and hurting, killing people that might be obstructing, but I am advocating that if it's dangerous, that you keep that car moving slowly and you push people out of the way. If you hurt or kill someone, you're going to have to be able to articulate that it was done in self-defense. And then it's just going to be like any time you defend yourself, you're going to have to articulate why you were justified to do so. But don't get out of a car. Stay in the car. Keep it moving. Keep the doors locked. When you're in your car, the doors should be locked anyway. You want the windows rolled up, but crack them a little bit. And this was something I read, Greg Effort's, an article that he wrote one time, or maybe it was just a comment on Facebook. he was talking about how if the window is just a little bit down, it's harder to break than if it's rolled all the way up. I haven't experimented with that personally, but I trust Greg. He's a sharp guy, does a lot of excellent training. I like his blog. I like the stuff that he does, and I'm going to trust him that having that a little bit down is going to be harder to break than the window rolled all the way up. Just keep moving. Keep moving. Stay in your vehicle. Stopping can be deadly. We've all seen the different videos of people smashing cars, people turning cars over. Keep moving. Push people out of the way. Get out of there. If you do hurt or injure or kill someone in that process, be prepared to articulate why you were justified and the danger you were in that caused you to get out to safety and why you had to do that. Those are some of the top things I can tell you about dealing with a crowd. Another very important thing is knowing your exits. I'm always preaching, know your exits and know your avenues of escape. Often in an emergent situation, people will go toward the exit, which is the same entrance they came in. And they will completely forget about alternative exits and emergency exits that are available. There was, I talk about this all the time because it's so poignant and hits hard, is that aircraft disaster where the 5 people escaped out the exit back here and everybody else that went toward the front to where they came in perished. Like 100 people died and only a handful escaped out the other exit because they were prepared and they paid attention and knew that exit was over here. Everybody else went toward the front and they died. Smoke, inhalation, and fire. So knowing your exits, knowing your escape avenues is extremely important if something happens to be able to get out that crowd. And it's not that hard to do. You can still have fun. You can still enjoy life and enjoy all sorts of things knowing your exits. I mean, when I was at Universal Studios almost a year ago, to the day, it was like last week was a year anniversary. I posted a picture on Facebook. As we were going through, I was noticing all the exits, that, as well as all the cool stuff there was to notice at all the rides. If something were to happen, I knew the closest exit to get me and my family out. It's that simple, and it's important that we understand and do that. So know your exits. A couple other people joined. Hello to everybody. If I missed you or didn't acknowledge your name, I really do appreciate you being on. Remember to like this, comment, share, get it out to people. I want to help people be safe. I want to help people enjoy life and everything there is to enjoy out there, but do so safely so you can continue to enjoy it up into old age. I was reading a book this morning, a book that I just started on being careful. And he talked about, how things have changed throughout the years, including our life expectancy. But we were being more careful and we were reducing accidents. And in the last few years, since I think the early 90s, it's sort of stagnated. And we haven't been reducing accidents and deaths and stuff by accidents as much as we had from like 1900 to 1980 or so. So I'm interested to see where he goes with this in the book and learn some that will help me teach people to be safe. But any other questions or comments or thoughts about crowds and safety, since that's the main thing I wanted to talk about today. Trying to see if I had anything in these notes from these old newsletters. What do we got? We got Mark joined. Hey Mark, good to see you here. I'm almost getting done unless some people have some more comments or suggestions, questions on crowds and safety, today's topic. Trying to think, I've covered most of the stuff that I really wanted to cover. Get out as quick as possible, head toward the exits, go diagonal, use barricades that can keep you safe from a crowd. Don't go down. Stay off the ground. That's where you're going to get trampled and the worst injuries and possibly death. If you're in a car, stay in the car, keep it moving. Not fast, not sudden, just a slow, continuous push people out of the way, keep it moving till you're in a safe place. Any other thoughts or questions? Otherwise, please go to Survive and Defend. Join up for the newsletter. It's a great free resource. And check out the membership site. It's a great, cheap resource to help keep you safe. Where do people usually park? Are there shops and coffee? Okay, so I missed part of that because it went through too fast, but I think you're talking about, maybe exits or escape avenues of, where shops and coffee places where people park. There's always going to be one direction that's going to be better to escape than another. Now, if you're in a parking lot, your escape is not necessarily to your car. It's probably going to be back to where there's lights, noise, people. And we're talking here now for like muggings and those kind of criminals that may take advantage of you in the fringe area of a parking lot. Now, if we're talking at a stadium and an explosion goes off, I don't want to rush and escape out to the parking lot. There could be secondary explosives. It's not uncommon for a terrorist to set off an explosive and have a secondary explosive device in the main avenues of escape, or out in the parking lot you got a car or a van or something filled with explosives. So, if I'm in a stadium or some event like that, rather than going, I'm going to get out of the stadium. I want to get out of the event center, whatever it is, nearest exit. But instead of going out to the cars, I'm going away from the building, away from the cars, away from the parking lots. I'll come back and get my vehicle later when everything's been cleared. But understand that the parking lots in some of those areas could be set up with secondary explosive devices waiting for people to go there after the initial attack. Remember where you parked. Big headache for me as I try to assist people. That's so true, Mark. And when I was at Universal Studios last year, I made a little tip. It's on YouTube. One of the things we can do now, since almost everybody has a cell phone with a camera, take a picture of where you parked and of the location, and then you got it. Where I parked. A lot of big places will have numbers and columns and different signs. If you're at Disneyland or Universal Studios, there'll be characters. Take a picture of those, and then maybe a picture from the car to looking at your event center or wherever you're going, and it will help you remember, so you have something like that. Hey, Lana just joined. Good to see you, Lana. I'll be seeing you in a few months in person, hopefully. When I'm out doing active shooter training in Virginia in October. We'll hope to see you and Kevin out there. But that's a good thing, Mark, is remembering where you parked. That will help you escape or at least find your vehicle later. Any other thoughts or comments, really dealing with crowds and safety, whether in a car or on your feet? Covered most of the stuff I wanted to cover, and I hope that answered James's questions yesterday. I don't know if James is on today, but he'll be able to see the replay of it, and I'm hoping that answered everything. If it didn't, James, put specific questions in the comments, and I'll do my best to try to answer those or send you to resources that do. Again, I appreciate everybody here. I appreciate the comments, appreciate the questions. Keep them coming. If I get questions today about different topics, that's what we'll be talking about tomorrow and subsequent days. If nobody puts a topic, I'll pick something. Some days it might not be safety and self-defense. Some days I might just get on here and say hi live, just depending on what I'm doing. But most of the time I want to provide some good tips for you in these 31 days of August going live. And let me know how I can help you. Again, go to the websites. So much information there. And I spend a lot of time trying to provide information to help people stay safe. I'm sick and tired of seeing people, good people, honest people, harmed by others when some simple practices and some simple strategies and things that they could learn and do would have kept them safe and not harmed. So please, take the advice, put it into practice, enjoy life, stay safe doing it. Thanks, and we'll see you all live tomorrow.